Hey everyone, Wendler here, and in this video this will be one of a quick 3-part series of doing a final recap for changes in PvP I hope to see inbound in September or in the future. The reason I feel this is necessary is the last time I made a video like this, a lot of things have changed in PvP. Iron Banner has finally received enhanced gear. We have confirmation that Super Armor was being looked at for the future and for September, and that Bungie's major focus is to work on the groundwork of PvP first before we see any major additions to the game. So with this video, we're just going to delve deeper on some things that were or were not mentioned by Bungie that I would like to see in regards to depth, maps, and sandbox balance. So part 1 of this video is talking about depth. So seasons have introduced a lot of amazing things in terms of depth to the game. You can see the progress from what we've had with Black Armory, the weekly wait for just one forge, compared to the Season of Opulence, where we essentially have a firing range now. In the Tribute Hall, we get more exotic quests, we have a full 6-man activity to grind, and more. There's still some smaller things that would be nice to see, not just for PvP, but for the game as a whole. So the first thing I want to see return is ornaments. Ornaments provide two major things for the game. The first being able to flaunt your stuff in Peacock, and the other providing depth to get to that point. Some of the coolest armor sets in the game were Season 3 Iron Banner and Season 3 PvP gear. Especially with Iron Banner's armor being moved away from the bounties into a quest, it makes perfect sense at this point to reintroduce seasonal ornaments back into the game. This is something that can be implemented with base vendors for Shaxx, Zavala, Saladin, Drifter, and raids. It just provides players an additional incentive each season, even if we aren't provided a full armor refresh every 3 months across the board away from major expansions. The second major point is we need more iconic, sandbox-friendly weapons in the game. So PvP and vendors as a whole need more sandbox-friendly weapons to provide an incentive to go in and grind. I understand that not every weapon can be powerful or god tier in the sandbox, as it creates a power curve that never ends, but it would be nice to get weapons from respective vendors that feel good and can compete outside of pinnacle weapons. If we look at Destiny 2 over the past 9 months of seasonal content, we've only had 3 new PvP weapons, 3 new PvE weapons, which all of those new weapons are mainly pinnacles, and the Iron Banner weapons have been relatively unchanged, as right now we are just getting old weapons brought forward to be random rolled. The one thing I do miss is going after these sought after weapons that just felt good to use in the game. Saladin with Iron Banner had the Iron Wreath, Nerwin's Mercy, Jolder's Hammer, Ephrodite's Spear, Fellwinter's Lie, or the Clever Dragon. Shaxx had the Longbow, Zombie Apocalypse, the Palindrome, the Saturnine Rapier, Lord Highfixer, the Hawksaw. Osiris had the Messenger, Scholar, Doctrine, Burning Eye, Blind Perdition, the Winged Word, Stellar Vestige. These are all major iconic weapons that I can think of on the spot, and Destiny 2 just lacks this same appeal. Not even really accounting for activity-specific drops, the weapons in D2 just, as mentioned, lack this kind of prestige. There are a few exceptions, such as Zavala with the Service Revolver, Saladin with Bite of the Fox, or Shaxx with the Fate Cries Foul, but in general we just haven't really had many vendor changes at all since Forsaken released. It's just hard for me to pick out guns over 2 years in Destiny 2 like I could with the iconic legendary D1 weapons. One of the more important points was the way this mitigated RNG for a lot of players. Palindrome being sold with rotating rolls each week allowed players to work around the RNG of a good IS Luna dropping. It created a more balanced curve in the game to dispel RNG while still providing everyone a valid option. The first step was the Austrian Beloved returning, but all of those weapons are from Menagerie, a separate playlist, instead of being put into vendors, and they all genuinely feel good to use compared to nearly everything else in the sandbox. The same goes for Rose and Lumina. So whatever is being done to those weapons, we just need more of, and hopefully move that towards vendor refreshes if possible. This would greatly improve the overall depth for PvP, but the game as a whole. And even then, we don't need a full, 10 weapon restock, but just getting 4 to 5 weapons thrown into the PvP or the PvE vendor pools instead of these old weapons getting brought forward, I think would just be great overall for the game. So the second part and the final part for this video is talking about maps. Big issue with PvP is the lack of new and old maps being introduced into the game. Another problem people don't really bring up with Forsaken is the maps were all built around Breakthrough, a game mode that flopped within the community. So they don't naturally flow well in other game modes that exist in the game, which means realistically the last quote-unquote solid PvP maps we have had launched a few months post Warmind's release. My ideal scenario is one new PvP map and one old PvP map per season. In addition to this, having one new Gambit map or one new strike with a weapon reward as well would also improve on top of this, and it's something that I expect to be added to the season's release schedule if that's possible. One of the coolest things was beating the raid and getting a new PvP map like Emperor's Respite, or Iron Banner teasing an OG map return in the TWAB, or getting a new Gambit map after the third Curse Week rotation. Things like this we need more of, because what it does is it combines the current game's story experience with the world that we play in every day, and it really helps tie in everything together and feel like that it really is all one world, which is just a great thing overall. I don't know if Gambit would be a major priority in this though, maybe like one new Gambit map across the 3 seasons, but at least with PvP and strikes, that would lead to 3 new PvP maps, 3 OG D1 maps, and 3 strikes over a 9-month period, which would be more than enough for a hardcore player like myself. I don't want, nor do I expect 5 maps per 3 months outside of that major expansion release schedule, but it would be cool to have something that refreshes the game state during that time, even when PvP isn't set as a main priority like it will be for this coming season. Eventually the fan favorites will drop off for D1, but there are a few maps in D1 that I would like to see eventually come over into Destiny 2. The maps not seen yet that I would like to see in no order are Anomaly, Asylum, Cauldron, Exodus Blue, Firebase Delphi, Rusted Lands, Timekeeper, and Twilight Gap. My personal top 3 I'd like to see immediately return though are Cauldron, Anomaly, and Timekeeper. Anomaly and Cauldron mainly fitting for the Moon return and the upcoming Moon based DLC and Shadowkeep. The third map is honestly a toss-up between the rest, but I feel Timekeeper was a really great map for smaller modes in addition to 6s, and it would also be cool to see the Winter Twist put on this map. So that's it for part 1 of this video, just talking about PvP depth and maps. The next video that will be right after this is focusing purely on Sandbox, and then the third video will be focusing on competitive changes. So again, thank you guys all for watching on this quick update, and I will see you guys next time when they're out.